fresh off of his Norris Trophy win, Erik Karlsson has been one of the leading trade candidates over this offseason, joining guys like Alex DeBrincat, who is now done. So it is pretty much Erik Karlsson now. He is the candidate that we've been looking for. Many rumors have come out of teams trying to inquire on him. Obviously, we know he's making a lot of money, which we'll get into later in this video. But Elliot Friedman has released some information that I'm sure a lot of us are curious and wondering about and have been wondering about. On the NHL Network, he says that Erik Karlsson's deal will get done to either Carolina or Pittsburgh. Friedman feels a bit of a poker game going on. San Jose has an idea of what Pittsburgh and Carolina want to do, just waiting to see if anybody, or if anyone makes a move. Does anyone want to change position, everything like that. But as you see, Carolina and Pittsburgh are the two that are the leading candidates. Two of the teams that we also thought were the leading candidates, two of the teams that kind of need them, we'll say. But we'll go into those teams there. Just before, I wanted to speak about, obviously the San Jose Sharks are still an option, and that he does not get traded. Like I said, Erik Karlsson has an absolutely humongous salary. You can see $11.5 million here, and that is no easy feat to trade, That's not going to be easy to be able to move to another team, so it's still possible that San Jose doesn't move him at all, and he stays put. But if a team wants him, that we're going to be talking about now, a few of these teams actually want him, I'm sure they will make a push for him, because obviously Erik Karlsson is not someone you get across every day. So the first team we're going to be going over here is the Carolina Hurricanes. Not San Jose Sharks, the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes, they do need him, They've already traded for a star San Jose Shark defenseman in the past, in Brent Burns, and they do need, or they don't need, I will say they don't need a guy like Erik Karlsson, but he will certainly help, You have to think a guy like Brett Pesce, like someone who is a replacement for Erik Karlsson, a much worse replacement, but a replacement nonetheless, would go back to San Jose. But Carolina don't have a lot to trade, They don't have too many prospects. They have all of their picks, or most of their picks over the next few years. But you're not going to get Erik Karlsson for just picks. So I think that Carolina is a good landing location for him. It's somewhere you want to go, You got to assume he'll want to go somewhere where they're close to a cup bound. That's the locations that he will likely go to. But Noah, what do you think about the Carolina Hurricanes, just to start this one off here?
Well, I think they're a perfect fit. We've seen over the past probably 4 or 5 seasons now, Carolina has been able to get over that hump. And I think, bringing a guy in like Erik Karlsson would help them get over that hump so much more. And you talk about that they don't have the picks and stuff like that, but I think the real, and I'm going to talk about that as well when we talk about the Penguins, I think it's going to be who can take on the most money. It's not going to solely be about, what younger players you get back, what you get back in return. I think it's going to be who can retain the most, right? So I think I'm not sure Carolina's exact cap position. I know they just signed guys like Michael Bunting and their 2 goalies in Freddie Anderson and Antti Ranta. They just signed Dmitry Orlov to that crazy deal. So I'm not sure what their cap space is exactly, but if they can somehow rig it up, it could be scary for the Hurricanes.
That is one good thing to talk about as well, is the retention. I don't think San Jose will want to retain close on $6 million per year for the next 4 years. That just won't happen. I think any team expects that to happen. But it is likely that they will have to retain something for many teams to be able to make a move. There's guys who on this team, like Orlov, you said, some of the guys like Aho and stuff, those guys aren't going to get traded, and they have the bigger cap hits. So it's unlikely that, it'll be just a straight no retention trade and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of work around. It's going to be very tough to make it happen.
I do think there might be a third team as like the broker sort of deal. We've seen that pretty evident this year. With Toronto getting guys like Ryan O'Reilly and all these teams taking on, 25% of their cap and they'll get like a 3rd or a 4th round pick in return. Yeah. So I do think it'll end up being a 3-team trade regardless of where Karlsson goes.
Yeah, like former Minnesota Wild player Ryan O'Reilly for the solid amount of 5 minutes. But yeah, it will likely have to be a third team, if they do something along those lines, but it's not going to be easy. But just before we go into Pittsburgh here, you can see here a little vote by the cap-friendly depth charts. I had it on Twitter. A nice poll. 1,000 people voted. So this is not just a margin of a few people. The most people think that he will end up in Pittsburgh, which is quite intriguing, It's something that you got to think about, that it's a good location for him. It really is. Now, that's what I want to talk about here now that we go in to the Pittsburgh Penguins. It seems like the perfect fit in your mind, Pittsburgh has all these guys, Chris Letang, Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, all of these guys getting older and older, and like their time is running out for this team to win another Stanley Cup. But Erik Karlsson, I think that puts him there. Once again, it's
Absolutely,
not
it
going to
does.
be easy for the Pittsburgh Penguins to be able to acquire Erik Karlsson. No, in no way it does. But to add to that defense that they have already, it is a major boost it would be to that right side. You can see Jan
Yeah.
Ruda, Jeff Petrie, and Chris Letang. Obviously, Letang would be staying where he is. That's not... He's staying in Pittsburgh. That is guaranteed. But Jeff Petrie, he's making $6 million. Maybe he gets sent the other way if the Pittsburgh Penguins do decide to trade for him. As well as Pittsburgh has majority of their picks, everything except I believe a third and a fifth of this year for in terms of all their whole picks for the next 3 years for sure at least. So I think Pittsburgh, that'd be a nice location for him. Kyle Dubas tried to get him while he was in Toronto, didn't get it happen. Now he has another opportunity here, and arguably closer to a Stanley Cup. Another one I would say for Sidney Crosby in that crowd. It's something you want to see. Except if you're a Washington fan, I would say Washington, Philadelphia. Other than that, I think everybody else in the league would be happy seeing Sidney Crosby win one more Stanley Cup in his career at least. But Noah, tell me what you think about the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Well, I think you touched on it perfectly. Crosby, Letang, Malkin, all those guys are kind of on the tail ends of their career, and I think they're trying to get as much as they can out of that team, like while they can. So bringing on a guy like Erik Karlsson just makes so much sense. Like I said, talking about the money situation again, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure of Pittsburgh's cap situation either, but I think it's going to boil down to who takes on the most money. Like I said, same thing with Carolina. I do think Pittsburgh, I just talked about the money, but I am going to talk about the young guys as well here. I think Pittsburgh has the better package. They have some better young guys like they just drafted Braden Yeager out of the WHL. They have, like you said, Jeff Petrie might be able, he's not a young guy, but they also have Owen Pickering they took last year that he's pretty solid defenseman. He might make the World Junior team this year for Team Canada. So I got to say, out of Carolina and Pittsburgh, I really like Pittsburgh.
Yeah, they would be my leading candidate. More so my favorite as well. I don't want to see Carolina get too good. Kind of scares me, but Pittsburgh, I'd like to see Crosby and Malkin and Letang, those guys go on one last run. That's what they didn't do. That was the problem with Ron Hextall and everybody before Kyle Dubas. They couldn't accept that they had to go on one last push. They had to go all in. And I think that if Pittsburgh wanted to go all in, they absolutely couldn't get Erik Karlsson. You got to do what you got to do to go all in. And to make it happen, I think they'll be willing to do that just to get these guys in their last run. Because they're still good. They're not past their prime. Well, they are past their primes, but not to the extent of other players. But now that we got these two teams out of the way, there are still a few more teams that are kind of lingering around these rumors. You might hear something about them here and there. So we're just going to go over those ones, the other teams that we got here. I know I have one, and I think, Noah, you do as well. So we're going to go over that, and I'll start it off here with the Toronto Maple Leafs. This tweet here comes from Howard Berger. I'm told William Nylander is paramount in trade dialogue with San Jose for Erik Karlsson. Other parts to be included strategically and financially. Landing Karlsson might be the end of the 56-year Stanley Cup drought. And I think that's very true. It's not every day that one of these players comes available. It's not easy to acquire them, and it's not every day you can get one of them. So when it comes, you at least have to inquire. You have to think about what you might do. Like I said, Kyle Dubas tried to get him while he was in Toronto. It is a good fit, but you got to think the Leafs have to give up one of the big four because they are very tight on cap as well. To be able to make it happen, it would either be Riley, Nylander, Marner, or Matthews. Likely it wouldn't be the other two I just said, Marner and Matthews. So Nylander, kind of got to be him because Morgan Riley also probably wouldn't go. Getting rid of a defenseman just to get another one, not ideal what they would want to do. So you have to assume it'd be Nylander, which is a huge loss to the Maple Leafs. So it still is a possibility, but you have to do a lot of thinking to make sure if you feel confident about that move. So, what do you just think quickly on that Maple Leafs one there?
I like what Nylander would be like. So I don't know if it would be a 1-for-1 Karlsson for Nylander. You have to assume there'd be some more, some more involved there. Yeah. But I don't know if Nylander makes a whole lot of sense for San Jose.
Not overall.
Right? Because he wants to compete, and I think he wants to win, and Toronto is the best place for that. But at the same time, he is saying, or I've seen all these rumors and all these reports saying he wants $9.5 million, and I think San Jose could. Like we're talking about trading away a big contract, but I think San Jose could offer him that $9.5 million. Yeah. So I do like that side of it, but I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does in a certain way, but it also don't. Like you said, it'd be tough. Nylander, He's the best, one of the best players on that team. It'd be hard to trade him.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, the Erik Karlsson, he had an incredible year. Like I said, Norris winner. But you also got to think he put up 101 points, 25 goals, 76 assists. You got to think he's not a defensive defenseman by any means.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about lacking offense on the Toronto defensive side, Erik Karlsson ain't going to do that. He's going to be able to get you the offense that you need in exchange for if you get a forward, one of your top forwards. So that's also in that way that it is a possibility that it could work.
Yeah,
but it would still be very tough to make it happen. But no, what team do you have here? What team do you think is like I'll say a lesser team in the media?
Yeah, I mean, I chose the Senators. I mean, come on, I can't be the only one that would absolutely love for him to go back to Ottawa. You know, they're on the rise. You know, they just went out and acquired Jacob Chikrin at the trade deadline, and it seems like they're ready to make a push. I mean, they did just trade DeBrincat, which, if you didn't see that video, by the way, go watch that one. But you know, I think their defense is. It's not that it's not great, but it's not good, or not. It's not that it's not bad. It's not great. You know, that right side there with Zub and Hamnick. I don't know if that's a playoff contending bottom four there. You know, Zub. I've heard a couple people saying Zub is pretty solid, but I don't know if Travis Hamnick is that guy. Like, you know what I mean? So, I mean, obviously they have a young group of young guys there, and I think it makes total sense to bring Erik Karlsson back.
Yeah, with you saying that gets me really, like, I can just see it happening. You know, the return, the pop you get going back to that arena. It would be very exciting. Ottawa needs it. You know,
they do.
The fans need it. The team needs it, and it's not like they're on their final push. If they can get him for 4 years on quite a bit retained, hopefully, you know, that would help them out a lot. Even though if you don't, it wouldn't be too bad because, you know, they don't have any very big contracts right now. They won't have any very big contracts yet. So it would work in terms, you know, I just get, I can only imagine. I'd love to see it. It'd be one team that I think would be a very good one too, you know. Especially with the backstory, the history. I think it would just work. But let us know down below in the comments if you guys got any other landing locations that we didn't talk about in this video, or if you wanted to say, put some input on the teams that we did say. We'd love to hear it. We'd love to see it. We'd love to read it. We'll be going over probably Erik Karlsson again at some point this offseason because, you know, one of the bigger players in the NHL, rumors about him being traded, there's going to be a lot of stuff swirling around in all the analysts and TSN, Sportsnet. We'll see it all, the NHL Network. So we'll be talking about that later. But that's all we got for this video. We're signing out. If you did like the video, make sure to like it. And also make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content from us. Going to have a lot coming. So hope you did like the video. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. See you later.